Hey, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, good evening, wherever you're watching from. So I got a ton of comments on the beat breakdown video, which first of all, thank you so much for all the love and support. It really means the world to me. I'm going to keep working hard to put out good videos and good music for you all. So a couple of comments were asking about the chord progression. So I thought I'd make a quick video on the progression and talk about some foundational music theory concepts that I think are important. All right, so I just want to do some music theory housekeeping. And if you already know your major scales and have a good grasp on chords, you can just skip to the part where I start talking about the progression. Okay, first of all, if you don't know your major scales, go learn your major scales. I'm sorry, I know it sucks. I hated practicing my major scales when I was growing up, but it really is so important. Once you learn your major scales, the possibilities of just chords that you can play are endless. So let's just take C major, for example. A C major chord is built up of triads that are notes from the C major scale. So it is the 1, the 3, and the 5. And these triads make up a C major chord. Then if you go one step up in the scale and you play the 2, the 4, and the 6, that's a D minor chord, and so on and so forth. So once you know that, you already have 7 chords under your belt, and you can start making chord progressions with just this. So the second thing that I think is really important is voice leading. So let's say I wanted to play C major to A minor. If I just play the root position of each of those chords, that voice leading to me doesn't sound very smooth. Something I would play to make this a little smoother is this. And what's happening here is I am playing the first inversion of A minor rather than the root position. And what first inversion means is you take the root of the chord, which in this case is A, and you play the first note after the root. And then you just build the rest of the chord based on the notes that you already had. And if I wanted to play second inversion, I would play the second note after the root and build the chord after that. Okay, so now we can start talking about the progression. It's in B flat minor. And it starts on the 6th of the key, which is G flat major. And here I'm playing a G flat major 9, which usually would be voiced like this. And here I'm dropping the A flat down an octave. It's just a different way to voice the chord, and I think it makes it sound a little denser. And really quick, just to talk about what this chord is it's built off of a G flat major chord, and then I'm adding extensions to make this a 9th chord. So to make this a 7th chord, you would play an interval of a 7th from the root. So we have G flat. So 7 notes away from the root is F. And then to make it a 9th, you play a 9th away from the root. And then you just add the major chord to those notes. Okay, so the next chord I'm going to is F dominant with a flat 9 on top. And I just want to get through the progression first, and then I'll talk a little bit about what's actually going on here. So the next chord I play is B flat major, first inversion, then E flat minor, and then F diminished. And then I go to A flat major over B flat. And then for the second time I play the chord progression, I wanted some variation, so I play G flat major 9 to F minor 7 to E flat minor 7 back to F minor 7. And these two chords, I'm adding the 4th here to the chord. I think this is a really cool thing to do because it just adds some additional texture to your chords. Okay, so now let's talk about the chords that are giving this progression the sauce. And those chords are this F dominant, this B flat major first inversion, and this F diminished. And the thing that all of these chords have in common is that they're all non-diatonic chords. A non-diatonic chord is any chord that's not originally found in the key. So since we're in B flat minor, this F dominant has an A in it, which isn't in the original key. Same with this B flat major first inversion. The D isn't in the key, and this F diminished, the B and the D aren't in the key. And I like to use these chords that aren't originally found in the key as a way of building up tension and then releasing it. So this F dominant is the 5 of B flat. And normally what a 5 chord does, in most cases, it comes at the end of the progression and it is kind of used as a cadence to end the chord progression and resolve it in a pleasing way. So I could play something like this and go to the minor 1, or I could go to the major 3. And something I'm doing here is I'm kind of diverting expectation by going to this B flat major first inversion. Because when you hear this F dominant, you kind of expect it to go to somewhere familiar. But instead, I divert expectations a little bit and go there, which to me feels good. It feels nice. It feels like the chord progression is leading somewhere, and then it finally goes back to the 6, which feels like home. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about is how I came up with these 3 chords. And I actually originally heard this melody in my head. And I thought it sounded sick, but I needed to find chords that fit under it. And then after that, I had this idea to have the bass mirror the melody. So then I ended up with this. And real quick, I actually got this idea from a 70s Japanese fusion song called Take Me by Cassiopeia, which sounds like this. And this song is doing the same thing that I did in my progression. The bass is following the melody. So after I had this in the bass and melody, I just had to find chords that would flesh that out. So B flat major was the obvious choice. And then from here, it was just voice leading. I just found chords that sounded pleasing to me. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole chord progression. If you take anything from this video, I want you to start experimenting with non-diatonic chords and learn how to use them. You can just start with that dominant 5 chord. There are so many places you can go just starting with that 5 chord. And the last thing I'll say is, if you want to learn how to make progressions yourself, I would really recommend trying to learn your favorite songs. So if you hear a chord progression in a song that you really like, pull that song up and then hop on your piano and try and learn it by ear. It might be hard at first, but the more you do this, it's going to be so helpful in the long run. It's going to train your ear a lot, which is so important when you're playing and even when you're making beats. All right, I hope this video was helpful. Let me know in the comments if it was. If you want me to go more in depth into music theory, just let me know if there's any specific topics you want me to talk about. I'd be happy to make a video on that. All right, peace. See you next time.